Shalom friends, greetings from the city of God, Jerusalem. We are just next to the beautiful Jaffa Gate. In fact, it means beautiful. Jaffa, Yafeh in Hebrew means beautiful. And here you can see the skyline of Jerusalem. That direction we have New Jerusalem, and this direction is the old city, East Jerusalem. Behind us, behind this wall, is the Mount of Olives. So we are in a very strategic place, very popular, very well known. If you are, for example, staying in hotels in Western Jerusalem, usually you come through this gate to enter the old city. We see here the Tower of David. We see again the Western Jerusalem. In front of us is the Hotel of David, and over there we see the famous mill of Montefiore. So I would like you to join me today on a tour of the old city of Jerusalem. We'll go from this gate, the Jaffa Gate. So you can actually go through the gate, or you can come here. So there's like two entrances here. Of course, the cars can also go through this, but of course not everybody can travel here. You need special permits to enter. But the more meaningful entrance is of course from the gate side. So this is how people would enter. People enter usually the old city of Jerusalem. So we see this beautiful gate. In that direction you have Jaffa Street, a very popular street with many cafes, many restaurants, shops. You can all find there. And here of course is a giant mezuzah that is in front of this gate as you enter, because in the Torah it is written that you would have this most important commandment to love God with all your soul, with all your heart, with all your strength, and to put those words on the gates and doorposts of your homes. So we're gonna enter now. Oh, you see some children singing, staying here, family photos. And this is already, we have entered the old city. So,
excuse me.
yes.
What are you looking for?
Nothing. I know Pauline.
Nice.
Where are you from?
Jerusalem.
Jerusalem?
Yes.
Very nice.
Enjoy.
You're a
Enjoy.
tour guide, yeah?
No.
No?
Guide tour.
Guide tour. Okay, good. Shalom. Salam. So, this is the Jaffa Gate. You can read again the meaning of this gate. So, it's a very important gate because I didn't say this, but this road down there, that's the Hebron road. So, if you would follow this road, you would first end up in Bethlehem, very important city, and then Hebron, another critically important city for the Jewish people. So this would be the road that would take you there. Of course, today Hebron, as you would say in Hebrew, and Bethlehem is not accessible for Jewish people. But if you're not Jewish, you can still visit at least Bethlehem. Hebron is more complicated. It's a very difficult, I would say dangerous place in a way to visit these days. But today we are focusing on Jerusalem. So we have, as you can see, not a lot of tourists these days in Jerusalem, and that's because of the war, which is scaring off a lot of the tourists. But of course Israelis, Arab people are still here in Jerusalem. This is a city where the two nations are present. So you know, those are hotels, of course, very important historically. When the British entered Jerusalem after World War I, General Allenby, there's historical pictures that show you the British entering from this side. And General Allenby, when he was entering Jerusalem, it was very interesting that before he came, you know, there was everybody waiting for him here in this place, and the orchestra was waiting, and everybody was getting ready to greet the General Allenby. But actually first a cook entered, and everybody started playing. The orchestra started playing. Everybody was thinking that that's General Allenby, and there was a lot of confusion. So the cook just, when everybody quieted down, recognized that it's not Allenby, said, "Excuse me, do you have eggs?" Because they wanted to make eggs for General Allenby. And then, of course, Allenby came. He came. He was on a horse. But when he got to Jaffa Gate, he actually stepped down from the horse and started walking, and everybody was really surprised. Why is he walking, not on his horse, as a victorious general, you know, like everybody else did in the past, like Alexander the Great, other generals that were coming to Jerusalem. And he said later on that he did that because where his master, meaning Jesus, came on a donkey, he cannot come on a horse. So he walked this path. So here we are at the important place, kind of like a decision you need to make here now. You can either go this way, and that would be the Christian Quarter direction. So in that direction you would have the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, many Christian sites. But in this direction, which we will go, this is the direction of the Western Wall. So this is where we are gonna go. So guys, we are walking this direction. This is the direction I told you, the direction to the Western Wall. But we are actually gonna take also a route that will lead us through the Armenian Quarter. So once again, here you have the Tower of David, and this is a very important tower because you see those huge stones. Those are from 1st century. Those are Herod stones, the lower part, those big stones. And this is where Herod Palace was. So above you have already a later extension that was added, but those are remains of a tower from the Herod Tower. Josephus tells us that there were 3 towers that Herod built. Each had a name that followed the name of his family members. And this is also probably the place where the trial of Jesus took place. So there is a museum now there. It's a very good museum. I highly recommend it. It has been just reopened, so it's much better than it used to be in the past. If you ever gonna be in Jerusalem, even if you saw it before, this is a new exhibition now, and it's really, really good. So let's continue our walk in Jerusalem, in the old city of Jerusalem. Maybe, you know, one of those days I'll visit this museum and upload for you to see. So here, you know, in the later times, for example, the Romans created a fortress. Then after, of course, the destruction of Jerusalem, then there was a Muslim period where also it was an important protective tower that functioned here. So what is nice about Jerusalem these days is that, you know, it's not a lot of people, because there's really no tourists. There's just Israelis now, and it's not as crowded. Even in a time like now, which is, you know, almost 5:30 p.m. Usually this place would be full of tourist groups that would come through, and they would be walking around. It would be loud. Everybody would hear tourist guides. But now it's not so. So here is a good view on this, you know, protective mount kind of thing, where it separated this tower from the rest, so it was difficult to conquer. And you see the foundations from earlier times over there. So once again, a view on the Tower of David. Somebody's going really fast. And this is a very narrow road. So it's nice to see that the shops are open, despite the fact that there isn't any tourists. But it's a very difficult days for Israel right now, especially for those that were employed in tourism, you know, tour guides, shopkeepers. They have a lot of problems financially, because you don't have people that would buy the souvenirs, that would buy many other things. So it's difficult for them now. And so even here, you know, you can only see really Jewish people. This is the main road to the Western Wall, but we're not actually gonna turn now. If you would like to go the fastest route to the Western Wall, you would turn here to the James Streets. And actually you will see signs here leading us to the Western Wall. Okay, so we are right here, and then you would take a road here, go a little bit here, then here, and you would end up eventually at the Western Wall. And this is the Jewish quarter, this direction. But we will go this direction, which is still the Armenian Quarter. So there are 4 quarters in Jerusalem. There is the Arab Muslim quarter, there is the Jewish quarter, there is the Christian quarter, and there is the Armenian Quarter. So you see, for example, signs here that remind you of that. So you need to watch out here and go. There are cars coming. And so again you can see the sign. And there are many churches, many institutions, seminars of the Armenians in this place. I'm actually gonna enter this place just to show you. This is a church over here. It is closed now, but here's still the courtyard. It's very, very nice, very quiet. See? So, guys, you can see here there's a painting showing you, of course, Christ at the top, and then you have you see the flowers and the blue colors, the green colors. This is already Eastern, more Eastern influence on the Armenian church. It's not a very typical. This is something you can see here in the Middle East, not so much, for example, in Russia, Armenia. This is something that already comes from an Armenian tradition, Eastern tradition. But something very interesting about the Armenian church that I want to show you now are the crosses. They're a very, very important thing to notice, because the crosses, you will never see a cross, first of all, with that's Christ crucified, because in this tradition Christ is already risen. He is not on the cross. So, for example, in Catholic Church you would see that, but not here. And also, what is very important, oh look, a lizard. You can see a lizard here. So, let's not try to get distracted now, because you will probably be looking at the lizard more than on the cross. But the crosses in the Armenian churches, every cross is different. You will never find a similar cross in Armenian church. So they have all those different decorations, and even the crosses themselves, all of them are in different design. So every church have a little bit different cross in the Armenian church. So guys, I just also saw this. So again, as we talked about the crosses, every cross you will see here, for example, is different. As I said, every cross is different. So it's different types of crosses. And the Armenian alphabet is actually very, very ancient. One of the first. It goes way, way back, and they don't have numbers in their language. So they use letters for numbers, like in Hebrew back in the days. So every letter represents a specific number. So it's quite interesting. And of course, Armenia is one of the first nations that accepted Christianity as a whole nation. So it's one of the first. So before we exit, I just want you to just look at the Armenian letters, how they look. You can have an idea. So actually the thing that is here is a bishop from 1192 is resting here. So 12th century AD. Okay, so this is a short introduction to the Armenian church. So we'll be exiting this place now, and we'll go this way. So once again, if you want to visit this place, this is how it looks. It's right next to Jaffa Gate. If you walk this path as we did today, you will see it on your left. And it's getting close now to the evening, so it's a good time to be heading towards the Western Wall, because a lot of Jewish people are going there for evening prayers. So we'll see how it looks today. So guys, over there already this tower, you can see that's so-called Mount Zion. If we would continue walking that direction, we would end up in, well, actually, you know, over here we will see in a moment, it's already the Zion Gate. So there's a big parking lot over here, but in front of us, this wall that you see, this is already the Zion Gate. So we entered through Jaffa Gate from there, and we're walking now towards the Zion Gate. Which leads us out from this mountain which we are on now, where the old city of Jerusalem is built on. This is the so-called Western Mountain, western to the city of David. And if you would exit this gate over here, over there, you would start walking toward another mountain which is called Mount Zion. But actually it's not Mount Zion, because the Mount Zion is the city of David. That's the original Mount Zion. So again, in the background you can see buildings being built. That's already Western Jerusalem, the modern Jerusalem, and we are of course in the old city, the old city of Jerusalem today, which is the center of life, religious life for many religions, for the Christian religion, for the Jewish religion, for the Muslim religion. And you see people already starting to walk to the Western Wall to pray in the evening. We pray 3 times a day. We pray in the morning, in the afternoon, and then in the evening. Sometimes you combine the 2 prayers in the evening, so that you do it just in the evening. So in a moment I'll walk through the Zion Gate so that you can see how it looks from both sides.
Be careful, be careful, this car's coming.
So once again, it's very nice now, very quiet, not a lot of people. It's a very different atmosphere than you would see in different times. Of course, now it's 6 o'clock, so there are some people that are finishing work. Today is Sunday, so a normal working day in Jerusalem. So you can already see the Zion Gate over here, and this is the gate. So a very interesting gate, again built in the 16th century by Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. He built all those walls of the old city. So in the 16th century, when the Ottoman Empire started ruling Jerusalem. So you see how it goes. It goes like it has a shape of a letter L, and this is how in the ancient times they actually built gates, because when somebody was charging at the gate, you had to turn, and it's more difficult with even if you're just soldiers without machinery. But if you have cars or even tanks, that would be very difficult to go through here. And this gate actually in 67 was one of the gates that was attacked. So when Jewish people were regaining control of the old city, they were trying to enter also through this gate, but this gate was not, it was really well fortified. The Jordanians on the other side, they were very well prepared, and it was not conquered in the Six-Day War. So the Jewish people entered, of course, the old city and the Temple Mount from the Lion's Gate. Not this gate, but this gate has evidence of a battle, because you can see like holes in the gate all over, and that's from the bullets from the battle that happened here. So very historical place. And here you can see today soldiers, Israeli soldiers, just relaxing. They're on duty, of course. It's not easy to be a soldier in Israel these days. So it's another picture, another war that is happening right now in Israel. A very difficult war where Jewish lives are lost each day. Of course, it started because of a brutal attack of Hamas on Israel. So if we would walk down there, we would end up in the Dung Gate, but we're gonna go inside the walls because this is gonna be a better view for us. So already in the distance over there, you can see parts of Mount of Olives. So that's east over there, but we'll have a better view of Mount of Olives in a moment as we will walk in this direction. So let's continue our tour. So you saw Dung Gate, you saw Jaffa Gate, and now we're going towards the Dung Gate. So this is Zion Gate Street, and already we have a beautiful view of Mount of Olives in the background. So now we are exiting the Armenian Quarter, which we visited, and we're going towards the Jewish Quarter. So it seems very peaceful here, but even today Israel was attacked by rockets. Rockets hit central Israel, areas of Tel Aviv. It's not peaceful these days, and those rockets were shot from Rafah. And of course, we pray for peace, we pray for shalom, for Israel, for Jerusalem, and for the world. And it's very important to remember that you will not find peace in the world if there will be no peace in Israel, in Jerusalem. When the King of Peace will come, when the Mashiach will come and step down on this hill will divide into two parts, and a river will go through it, through this valley, this new valley that will be created, and will go into the Dead Sea that will come alive again, and the whole world will become alive. There will be a totally different times of peace, times of rest, something to look forward to in today's very troubled time, where again the Jewish people need to fight for their survival, when the whole world is becoming hostile to the Jewish people, where Jewish people cannot feel anywhere safe now in the world. There isn't one country in the world where Jewish people can feel safe. This is their last stand here in Israel, in Jerusalem. Of Olives, where the end of history will happen, where the history will end in this place, where all the nations will come against Jerusalem. And you see here children, you see them making fire actually here, not only children, because now it's important days, it's Lag BaOmer, where you count days from Passover to Shavuot. So you see children again here. Each day is counted from Passover till Shavuot, and it's 50 days. And then on the 50th day, Shavuot starts. And of course children are running around Jerusalem again. Jewish children playing, having fun. And you know, when in a time like today, when the whole world is against the Jewish people, this reminds me of a very important promise that God gave to Israel. When we read that Even if a mother forgets her child, God will not forget the Jewish people. And really, this is the only hope of the Jewish people, the God of Israel. And this place you see in the background, where the culmination of history will happen. So today is a very, very enjoyable evening. It's not warm, it's very the wind is not strong, but there is a little of a breeze. Soon it will get very, very warm in Israel. Now it's nice. It's like the perfect weather. See different flowers. I really like this purple flower over here, and this flower. It's very nice. This flower is actually poisonous, so if you eat it you may actually die, so don't do it. There are two types, this pink one, and there's also the white one, so make sure you don't eat it. Or even if you touch it, don't put it in your mouth. Your fingers, wash them. So, and now we have a good view on the hills surrounding Jerusalem. So from all direction, Jerusalem is surrounded by hills, by mountains. And we read, David wrote, as the mountains surround Jerusalem, so that God surrounds his people. So already in that direction we have the east, so that's Jordania over there, and over there is western Jerusalem in that direction. We have the big dome you see here, and that's the white one. That's the Huvra synagogue, the biggest synagogue in the old city of Jerusalem. So even the synagogue has a big flag of Israel around it, as a sign of solidarity in the state of Israel. Lots of flags these days. The Jewish people have only themselves, really. Of course God, they have God. They have friends still among Christians, which is very appreciated. And those that still are remnant, that are praying for Israel. We Jewish people need prayer these days. And many of unbelieving Jews feeling very alone these days, and they see how the world turned their back on them. They wanted to be like the world. The unreligious Jewish people, they thought if they will be like the world, then they will be loved. But the world does not love the Jewish people. The world hates the Jewish people. That's the sad reality. There is only God that loves the Jewish people, and believers who pray for Israel. Those that believe in the God of Israel. If you truly believe in the God of Israel, you have compassion for the Jewish people, because if God loves so much the Jewish people, like I said, if a mother would forget about her child, God will not forget. If you read that, how can you say that the Jewish people are not important anymore? If he had kept them for so long, it's all coming to this culmination moment, and we're waiting for it. So you see some Israelis, Jewish people are already returning from prayer, some are going to pray, and
guys, I love Israel.
Look at that view.
you see Jewish people singing.
So
Israel High means the Jewish people are alive. It's a beautiful view. So again, the view on the hills in Jerusalem. This is an Arab neighborhood over here. You see, it's very characteristic. Here already you have Jewish settlements. Here is Arab, and a typical thing for the Arab neighborhood is those really big houses where generations of families live in one house. So they start building up on a new floor, and a lot of them are built without permits, building permits. They're done in a very dangerous way. There is no thought to them, so they look kind of not organized, and they're very, very crowded. So that big cupola again there, that's Mount Zion. That's where we were in a moment ago, where the Zion Gate is, and we're going down now towards the Dung Gate. So here again you can see the Mount of Olives, and below the traffic jam, because it's this time of the day where everybody finishes their work. And this is a very, very busy road at this time. You can see the line of the walls, and already a little bit of the Temple Mount sticking out. So in a moment we'll be able to see the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock.
I was able to do a ton of learning. It really is. You have nowhere to go.
Those stones here are very, very slippery. If you are not careful, you can fall. There's a lot of people walk on them, and it makes their surface very slippery. Some more children. Shalom. Dear friends, if you find this material interesting and you think it's valuable, please consider supporting the channel through Patreon. Your support on Patreon will help me incredibly in producing more and more materials for you about Israel. Also, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell button. This also helps me in promoting this material to the world. If you would like to receive emails every time a new video comes out, please subscribe by sending me an email saying that you would like to be informed every time I publish a video. And now let's go back to our journey in Jerusalem. So you can already see very clearly the southern part of the Temple Mount. Below us, over there, is the city of David. So right there where you see like a building with glass, this is already the territory of the city of David, and it goes down, and in between this Arab neighborhood and the city of David is the Kidron Valley, which goes up to the Mount of next to the Mount of Olives, and then eventually to the Dead Sea. Now you can clearly see what is appearing. This is the dome of the rock, the gold cupola, the most holy place for the Jewish people. Unfortunately, today occupied by the Muslim religion. So, again, a nice view on the southern excavations. This is the south side of the Temple Mount. Below, again, is the city of David. This is the most ancient part of Jerusalem, where the Gihon Spring is, where David built his tower. It was much lower than the Mount, Temple Mount, and the Temple Mount is lower than the Olive Mountain, Mount of Olives. But the reason why David built his city here is because of water, of the Gihon Spring. But water to the Temple Mount was actually brought from way to the east, from a place next to Hebron, where there was a spring. That water was transported to huge pools called Solomon pools, and from there it was again taken to the Temple Mount through a very long aqueduct. And I have a video that I will share with you exactly how this water and what direction it traveled to the Temple Mount. And the water was just used for the Temple Mount. So they transported water from so far away just to have water for the temple worship. Once again, we have to be careful walking on those steps that are steep and slippery. So you have to walk really slowly if you don't want to get hurt, because they're not even. So there are three factors: they're steep, they are slippery, and not even. So another view. I showed you this view many times. It's a beautiful view. It's nice to return to it, but this is special because it's during war in Israel. So a very different feeling, because it's just mainly Jewish people. You may see a tourist here and there, but I haven't seen one today so far. So it's very different, Jerusalem these days, without tourists, without the nations, just Jewish people, of course Arab people, but certainly a different feel. And this is the best time to come here. It's not warm, the sun is now setting down, so it's a nice reflection on this side of Jerusalem, on the Mount of Olives, on the Temple Mount, the western side of the Temple Mount. So you see that thing sticking out of the western wall. This is already the western wall, you know. This side, it's called the western wall because it's on the west side of the Temple Mount. So behind we have east, so that would be the eastern side, where the Golden Gate is located, where you have the Mount of Olives, of course. This is the south, which led to, if you go that direction, you would end up in the city of David, and north would be this side. So I didn't finish. That thing sticking out from the western wall, this is the Robinson's Arch, a remains of an arch that functioned here during Herod's time. It was an important entrance to the Temple Mount from this side. Of course, the main life also in the first century was here on the western hill. If we would say it, this would be the Temple Mount, the eastern hill. We are on the western hill, and that's the most eastern hill, so Mount of Olives. So life in the times of the first century happened here. This is when Herod extended this. Let me just wait a moment, because it's gonna get really loud here because of the ambulance. Magan David. Magan David, it's this Star of David. So this is in Israel you don't have crosses, you have a Star of David on the ambulances, on the dock, on the vehicles that help people. So as I was saying, main life in the first century happened here on the western hill, and a lot of the entrances to the temple were from this side, the western side. So now, see, it's a difficult situation because there's nowhere those cars can go. They're stuck, and Magan David wants to get out, but nobody can do anything. You can just cross here. So this is the exit from the Western Wall, but we will not exit. We will get in the Western Wall area. So once again, a nice view on the Western Wall. You see the huge stones over there. That's from Roman times, when Romans destroyed the second temple. They started throwing down the stones from the top of the Temple Mount, the temple complex. This is an archaeological park. You have remains of many different historical periods, starting from the 1st century to even there are some that are dating back to Solomon's time, if you don't believe it. But this is also the area where Solomon extended the life of Jerusalem from the city of David, which was below, to the Temple Mount. But you have remains mainly from Second Temple period, then all the other periods, so Roman, Byzantine, and eventually, you know, you have Mamluks, so Muslim already, and other Arab nations that were here before. So it's really a mosaic of history. It's a good museum also, but it's best to visit with a tour guide, because if you are not with a tour guide, you may not know what you are looking at. So you see, it already gets pretty busy here. Many Jewish people are going to pray, to the prayers, evening prayers, and we will enter here through a security gate, and we'll end up there in this iconic place, which is the wall where the Jewish people pray. It's not only, you know, a place very close to where the temple stood, so where the Dome of the Rock is standing now, but also it's an active synagogue that we will also go into today. So we will enter through this gate. That's the men's entrance, that's the women's entrance over here. So I will turn off my camera now, because I need to leave my equipment before, and we will meet at the other side of the security. Okay guys, so we are now entering a place of prayer, so I'll try to be right here. Actually, you can have water here. I'll have some water, so excuse me. While I do that, you can look at the people. So, see a lot of soldiers, a lot of security here. So, in a way, this is a giant synagogue, this place. Now, when the Jewish people came here and they regained the control of Jerusalem after thousands of years, after 2,000 years, when again the Jewish people could access the old city, the Temple Mount, they had a very limited amount of space next to the Western Wall are historical pictures showing you exactly how much space they had, and it was very little. So when Israel started controlling this place, they made much more space, and now it's much bigger. So it's very busy now here because it's the evening prayer. So over here you have a section for the women, and this is traditional washing of the hands, religious. There is a certain way you do it. You'll see it in a moment. First you wash one hand and then you wash another hand. So this is the traditional way you do it. And there are different traditions, of course. Sometimes it's one time, sometimes it's 3 times you wash one hand. So many different ways in which you do it. So now we will go to the place where you pray, washing the stones here. So, see how it looks. That's why they are clean. Here is the area where the men wash their hands. So you can look at this man. He's washing it 3 times, not 1 time, as the girl does. Or even more. But, it depends on the tradition, which part of, for example, ultra-Orthodox family you are. So it all depends. But you can see now it's time of prayer, so a lot of people are here for the evening prayers. So if you don't have a kippah, we can get one over here. Yarmurka is another name for it, so it's either a kippah or a yarmurka. So you can take it here for free and then you can receive it. So now we are basically in a synagogue where the Jewish people pray, and they know their prayers, some of them by heart, some of them use prayer books called Sidur, and this is very iconic look over here. So of course, if we're talking about the different stones here that you can see, this is the Western Wall again. So at the bottom you have the stones from Herod time, a little bit above it's later period, and then at the very top, that's already from Muslim periods. So if you go up, the stones get smaller and smaller. So it was much more sophisticated in the old days, where you basically transported huge stones. They weighed tons, and there's even a beautiful finish of the stone, very typical for Herod stones. There's like a boss on the stones, and each stone has a very if you want to know which stone belongs to Herod and what stone is not, it's best to look at the boss, which is at the bottom of the stone, around the stone, basically like a finish. And people also put prayers in between the stones. You pray and you leave a particular prayer to God. People sometimes ask what do they do with all those papers, because you can imagine that, especially in the times where you had a lot of tourists, there would be a lot of those papers. So of course at a certain point they take out the papers and they collect them. They do not throw them out, they do not burn them, because somebody may write a prayer with the name of God, for example, and you cannot then throw it out, you cannot burn it, because that would be insulting. What is done with those papers? They are actually buried on the Mount of Olives, which is behind us. So that is what happens with the papers, the pieces of papers where you have So guys, before I enter there, I will explain to you. This is a synagogue, and this synagogue is actually built under a huge arch. So it's an arch from, again, Herod's time. I mean, the arch is later, but it's built on foundations from Herod time. And in Herod's time, there was another entrance to the temple. So you would use this arch to enter the temple, but that was a very specific, very important entrance reserved for very important people, like for example Herod the Great, who was a king, and he would use this bridge to go from his palace, so the Jaffa Gate where we were, to here, the Temple Mount. He would use that entrance. So I will not speak now, because we're entering the synagogue. Okay guys, so again, look at the western wall. This is again the entrance to that area, and We have walked from Jaffa Gate, we walked through the Dung Gate next to it, and this is the Dung Gate. So below, over there, is the city of David. So I hope you enjoyed today's walk. Hope it was meaningful for you as it was for me. I wish you a blessed evening. I wish you peace, and may peace come to the world. Shalom.